Hey everybody, Bad Pennies are back again. I'm Sho and this is my friend Alan.
We're here to talk about
Fear.
So fear.
Fear.
It's an interesting word and it's an interesting emotion. And as much as we've talked about the value of not being emotional in living your life as a man, and because when we get emotional, we tend to make really bad decisions. We react. A lot of the emotions that come up are because we get hurt, or feel that there's some injustice or whatever, and so we want to lash back out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it comes out of ego, but fear is a different thing, and it actually can have some value, and it certainly has a place in human existence, right? Because fight or flight, right?
Survival.
Survival. It'll keep you alive.
Yeah.
It's making that decision of whether you're going to stand there.
Listen and you believe your fear or something. Okay. Like a warning system.
It is a warning system in a way, because it's telling you that you're in a perilous situation and you got to make a decision whether you're going to stand and battle or you're going to run away. So fear. But here's the funny thing about fear, and we're gonna give you a definition of it, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about its place and where it works and where it doesn't work. Okay. So fear is causes adrenaline to kick in. It initiates the fight or flight response, and the weird thing about it is that we have these kinds of responses in situations that are not life-threatening. See, it's actually a valuable thing in a life-threatening situation. And because of and some of the things that can actually kick in fear is high levels of stress, or situations where you think that you're in trouble, but so your body responds, or your brain responds as if you really are. And so all of these chemicals that are designed to keep you alive kick in. And the reality of it is, unless somebody is standing there with a gun pointed at your head, there's very little in life that is really warranting the fear response. Right, unless you're, unless you're in an actual life and death situation, the fear response is mostly unwarranted. But it comes up, so we got to deal with it. It still comes up, and it comes up because of our perceptions of things, background, all kinds of stuff. That things that you might be afraid of that have nothing to do with life and death, right? You could be afraid of, a mouse could run, through the room, and you have a fear of mice, and it would kick off this fear response. There's all kinds of things, and we're not going to get into all of the stuff that can kick it off, but we're going to talk a little bit more about what it is and how to deal with it, and why you have to deal with it. You have to. You can't not deal with fear. Okay, because there's problems. There's a whole bunch of problems.
Yeah.
Not dealing with fear as men. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So including the unknown and stuff like that. So fear as a definition, both. I think we'll start. I think there's a noun definition and a verb definition, but they're very similar. It's an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain, death, or a formidable threat.
Makes sense to me.
A mixed feeling of dread and reverence. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And as you can see, that could happen in all kinds of situations that have nothing to do with pain and death or a formidable threat, right?
Okay.
It's that a lot of that is in your head. A feeling of anxiety concerning the outcome of something or the safety and well-being of someone. Note failing to deal with fear will cause doubt, and doubt kills our warrior spirit.
Okay.
Okay, so doubt is a detrimental emotion to men, because doubt will hold you back. Doubt will keep you from fulfilling your potential. Doubt will kill your vision, your spirit. So you don't want to have doubt, but the thing is, if you don't really deal with fear when it comes up, then it's going to produce doubt. So fear, it has to be dealt with, and there are very little ways to properly deal with fear. But let's talk about how it actually is beneficial first.
Okay.
Okay.
How is it beneficial?
Well, because it heightens the senses.
Heightens the senses. Heightens the senses.
It heightens the senses, and
Yes.
as it heightens your senses, it helps you be infinitely more situationally aware, and it also contributes to not making bad decisions, mistakes.
Okay.
It'll help keep you from making mistakes.
Okay.
If you don't deal with it properly, though, you can go into doubt, and then you're going to make all kinds of mistakes.
Mhm.
So if you let it overwhelm you, you're definitely going to make mistakes. If you talk to Medal of Honor winners or any war heroes and their experience, they will all. I've never heard one interviewed that didn't say he was afraid.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
but they did it anyway. They went forward. They dealt with the fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are very specific ways they dealt with the fear that are common across the board. So the fear helped keep them alive with all of that heightened awareness, and their brains are now functioning faster than normal with all the chemicals that are being released because of the fear. And so they go into battle. It doesn't guarantee you're not going to get killed, but it increases your odds of survival. So fear can be very valuable,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
In certain situations, it keeps you alive,
Yeah. I can see that.
right? And it also contributes to success in a way if you deal with it properly. So, but if it overwhelms you and you cave into it, then you go the other direction. Then you're prone to, because of the doubt that creeps in, you make bad decisions. You doubt your decisions. You may not even make a decision if you're in doubt. By the way, one of the things that I don't know whether we said it before, but there's not really, the concept of good decisions and bad decisions is a weird construct, right? And not necessarily true, or it's not a reality in many ways. There's a better way to look at it. And the better way to look at it is that is the decision that you made work? Did it work, or did it not work?
Okay.
Because that is congruent with reality.
So
Good and bad, a good decision or a bad
But when would you
decision
make
may
that-
be based on a judgmental basis,
but at
or
what point are you asking
all
yourself
kinds
that
of
question?
biases or prejudices, or all kinds of things that may skew the judgment call. But it's cleaner to
Yeah.
look at it as, did this work or did it not work?
But
So-
at what point are you asking that question?
Well, it's always going to be after the fact,
Yeah,
or
but
or-
right after the fact.
Well, sometimes as you
or-
get into something, you may have to make a course correction. That's the other thing. We've talked about this in other
Yeah.
podcasts, right? As you make a decision,
And
you get into it, you go like, all right, this isn't working. What do I need to do to correct the direction that I'm going? So I'm going in a direction that works. And yes, you have to, our brains work all the time making decisions as to whether something's a threat or not, or it has a lot to do with survival. They call it the animal or the lizard brain or whatever. A very core part of our structure and makeup. But you go into a situation, and a lot of things may take over as fear starts to kick in, right?
Okay.
And those are the things that, in many ways, keep you alive. Or if you cave into it completely, where it overwhelms you and you go into doubt, then you're more than likely gonna make bad decisions. And what's even worse than say you got two choices, and one's going to work and one's not going to work. So you don't know which one it is, but you've got two choices. And do you know what's worse than picking one?
None.
Absolutely. Picking like waiting.
Right. Yeah.
Indecision.
Yeah.
Indecision is actually worse than making what we would call a bad decision.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Because in the bad decision
is a lesson.
Is not only a lesson, but an opportunity to see that you need to change directions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
And you get into it and you go, oh, this isn't really working. What do I need to do to, I need to go this way. Mm-hmm. Or I need to go that way. Whatever it is, you need to, reassess and course correct. So how do we punch through? And by the way, that's the only way. The typical way for men is we just like to punch through stuff, right? I don't know about you men out there, but certainly from the time I was a kid, I know that I was punching through. Sometimes I used to call it like white knuckling, where you just punch through it. Not always the best way to do it, but it is the way that we typically do things. Okay. And so, but fear is one of those things you have to punch through. All right. And I know there's the prevailing wisdom out there in a lot of disciplines where, they say, and I saw this in a TV show the other night, the only way out is through. And that's sort of true for all human experience. You can't circumvent things. You have to go through them. That's the deal. And whether you wanted to sign up for it or not, this is the deal. So and what we can do, by the way, realizing that that's the deal that we signed up for, whether we actually consciously did or not, right? Is that realizing that you can change the way that you think about it so that it works, because you can make that work.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're not trying to change something that is not changeable. So you have to change yourself in order to be able to get that to work. But I don't want to get too far off track here, because we want to stay with fear.
Yeah.
But are you with me on that? Do you understand?
I hear you there, but I'm just saying, let's go back to fear.
Okay. All right. So this is a little digression. So, but with fear, really the only way that, traditionally anyway, that men deal with fear is with anger. And it's anger that helps you punch through the fear. Again, looking at countless interviews of World War II and Korean War and Vietnam War heroes, describing the process from the beginning to completion of whatever happened. Again, almost invariably, they got angry. They admit that they were afraid. Everybody was afraid. Bullets are flying, men are dying, bodies are blowing apart, and so there's prevailing fear just everywhere, right? And in fact, if you didn't have fear, again, that you're going to get killed. So, but what happened for these men is that they punched through it with their anger. Something happened, they got angry, and that anger helped them literally punch through the fear.
Okay.
It's about the only time that anger is actually a useful emotion. Because you know that we talked about impulse control over a couple of podcasts recently.
Yes.
Right? And using anger in the wrong place is going to hurt you. Right? I mean, how many men get angry at stupid shit? And it's usually because their ego, right?
Yeah.
Their ego. So if you're getting angry because your ego takes a ding or gets hit, or you know, again, there's some injustice. Someone's done something that you didn't like, or you're upset with, and then you get angry, and then you lose control. So only in that moment where you've got to punch through the fear can you use that anger to get to the other side of it. And again, the fear keeps you
alert
and aware.
Yeah.
And
anger gets you through it.
And you make clearer decisions in that process.
Okay.
Right?
I've never heard this before. This is
really
a new way of
thinking about it, right? Yeah, exactly. But really, so I tell you what, you know, watch some documentaries, you know, some where they're interviewing.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Soldiers where the fear is justified. It's not like, you know, I'm afraid my boss is going to yell at me.
Right. No.
All right, because that's not a life or death situation.
No.
You know, even if there's a chance that you might lose your job, you're not going to die. So it's not really justified. Because and again, even if you did get fired, the fear isn't going to help you. Because you're going to have to go look for another job, and if you're going to live in fear, and more than likely that fear will turn into doubt in those situations anyway, and then you're really screwed. So unless there, like I said, unless there's a possibility of blood to be spilled, in most cases, fear is not really justified, and when we, I mean, there's a lot of psychological ramifications for having fear all the time. And what happens, I think, even for some people, is that they because of the adrenaline that kicks in, they get addicted to it like a drug. Talk about adrenaline junkies, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I've been watching some of the base jumping videos where they're jumping off of these mountains into valleys. And
are you gonna do it?
Hell no.
Are you afraid?
It's not really. Yeah, exactly. You get angry about it. It's not my thing. But there is a huge. You can tell when they land the incredible adrenaline rush that they're experiencing.
Okay.
And they're doing something that really does warrant fear, but they do it brilliantly. I mean, it's amazing how they wear these wingsuits, and then just before they smash into the ground, they pop their parachute and land on their feet, and it's just amazing. I have a lot of respect for the talent and the craft, and also the ability to push past the fear that it's kind of a stupid thing to jump off of a cliff. Or out of an airplane.
Would you jump off of anything?
Right, exactly. Or off the top of a building.
We're not giving wings for a reason.
Yeah. So, but again, just watching this and seeing some of the interviews and stuff that how they push through. They push through the fear and deal with it.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else we need to talk about?
To me, I was thinking more along the lines of when you're. I guess we did cover it. We did cover it though, but like if you're making a decision in life, and like the fear that you have gives you that awareness, like you said,
So you don't make
about-
mistakes.
Yeah, so you don't make mistakes. So you did address that.
Yeah.
So we got there.
Yeah, but if you don't effectively deal with it, the question is, if you're having fear a lot, maybe you should talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
because
don't be a
that's-
fraidy cat.
That's not
or-
a good thing. It's
Yeah.
not a good thing
You
to
can't
be
be like,
to being in fear all the time.
Yeah, no. But
So-
but when you come into a situation and you do raise your alert level,
Mhm.
there is something to notice in that. Don't ignore it.
Yeah, don't ignore it. And
And then once you've then recognized the whatever the situation is, if you still proceed at that point that you're going to break through the fear, anger is the best tool to break through the fear in order.
it's a good tool. Yeah, it's
So-
it's the tool we've been using.
So we got there.
As humans, we've been using that tool a long time.
Yeah, gotcha. All right,
It
cool.
works.
Hey, Bad Pennies, we'll be back.
See ya. Hope that helps.
Yeah, we will.
All right.
All right.